Apple WWDC. What did we get out of it? Emojis. Sell the news in Apple, looks like. Little fall through the downside today. NVIDIA gets a price target raise and is actually in the red a little bit today. That's win. Maybe blame the market on that one. JP Morgan loves shop. Inflation jitters. Mexico not doing too well. India bounces back. We're going to cover the whole gambit today on PreMarket Prep.
Welcome to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep.
This is a volatile puppy here.
It's all about execution styles and strategies.
All right, good morning, traders and investors. Starting out in the red a little bit here. Not much, 15 handles, 53, 60, 53, 56 and a quarter. New all-time closing high yesterday, down a little bit today. You know what that means? Buy the dip. The buck is up 21 cents at 105.32. Bonds creeping back a little bit, up 28 cents, 91.17. Crude holding steady here. Potential double top, just over 78, down 26 cents, 77.48. Gold holding steady at 23 and a quarter. Silver back under 30, down 51 cents at 29.37. And Bitcoin taking a hit here, down almost 3K. 67,000 is where it's holding for right now. Let's bring in Triple D. And our goal today on this show is to cheer Dennis up. Dennis, what do you got going on there in the background? Oh, it's its birthday!
The kids and the wife have somewhat attacked the the banners.
I forgot June 11th, and your
birthday
today.
It wasn't a very happy birthday for me though, because the Oilers, so pretty depressed. It's 91% chance they're going to lose here now. I was hoping to have a good birthday present where they tie the series 1-1. I was going to be all pumped up, and no, they're down 2-0. So trouble for Edmonton. And then, yes, I am turning a little bit older here today. Approaching 50, Joel. Approaching 50.
My God.
It's starting to get bad.
Yeah, 49, 48?
48 years old today. I know. Feels like last week I turned 18 and now I'm turning 48. Doesn't it? The time must just fly. When you get up to your age when you're approaching your 90s, Joel,
I don't even know.
Time must go really fast, eh?
I still feel like I'm 20, but so the 47 puts are worthless.
Yeah, they're off the board.
47 puts are off the board, worthless. I knew that. I knew I should have known that. I'm sorry. There you go.
Oh no, you're good. I'd forget my own birthday if it wasn't for my wife and kids. So I show up in the morning, I just see this up here. I was like, oh, it's my birthday today. I didn't even know that. It's like, remember from Old School, the movie, Frank the Tank, and then he gets separated from his wife, and then she's like, wishes him a belated happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday. It was your birthday last week. He's like, it was my birthday? It's like, Frank, you forgot your own birthday again. I was like, that would be me. If it wasn't for my wife and kids, I'd forget my own birthday.
Shout out the kids for giving you a little celebration. Now they
did a nice job. They did a nice job decorating here. So they made me some nice cards. I got the Spencer card here. He even did this little acronym here. You know, he did Daddy acronym, and it says,
oh, really?
Yeah, look, it says it says delightful. It's spelled delightful. It's got to work on the spelling a little bit. Amazing. The D is for amazing. The other D is for Dennis.
That's good.
Dedicated was good. And then Y is for you are the best. That was a sweet card. And then, my daughter made me one too. I don't know where my daughter's card. Oh, my daughter made me one here too. So, yeah, I got to show off all the stuff they made me for today. So, enough with the housekeeping. Let's get on to the markets here. We're not talking any Oilers hockey because we're too depressed about that. So, straight up into stocks.
You're also getting like few hundred happy birthdays in the chat. So shout out everyone in the chat.
Thank you, chat. Thank you, everyone, for the happy birthday. I do appreciate it.
All right. And listen, one more thing. All you Twitter trolls out there, can you be nice to Dennis today?
Yeah. Oilers lost. I'm really depressed.
Yeah. I mean, and AB, did you wonder why he didn't have his
camera
camera
the Tigers
on?
again.
I did. Now it all makes sense. So on the pre-market show, Dennis didn't want to give up the surprise. So
I was somewhat embarrassed too.
he waited for now. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you to everyone in the chat wishing Dennis happy birthday. Dennis, happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. Let's get to the market. We've got, Joel has the Bitcoin chart up over here. Bitcoin selling off a little bit. The market's selling off a little bit. I don't know. I don't think there are any specific catalysts. I think this is just, we were a little bit, at all-time highs, maybe a little overextended. And we're heading into a big week of economic data. Of course, tomorrow is the CPI report, followed by the Fed decision at 2 p.m. The decision part won't be as pivotal because the expectation is basically baked in that they're going to keep rates the same. But the CPI will be a very big deal. And then the following day, we have PPI. So I think it's just a little bit of tentativeness ahead of these reports. And maybe some people saying, hey, well, there's so much uncertainty. I'm at all-time highs. Might as well take some profits.
That's what I think too. And and there I am yesterday trying to get bearish Nvidia for the first time ever, and trying to even play it from the short side a little bit. They're still long in the long-term account, but it doesn't work. I mean, it goes down. It looks like I'm going to be right in the first 20 minutes yesterday. Nvidia sells off about $3 in the first 20 minutes. I was like, okay, yeah, this is textbook weakness after the split. Nope, they buy it right back. And then we got to get into, the catalyst for them really in the afternoon, I think, was Apple didn't say anything about really chips or anything. And we should talk about Apple because a lot of people obviously talking about Apple last night and today with their event. The AI event didn't go that well. I mean, they didn't really, AB may have some summary notes there, but they didn't really stun us with, this awesome AI products. Gene was on CNBC talking about, there's infrastructure getting put into place here. Obviously, the new iPhone's going to be all AI. But what I really saw was a lot of emojis. I mean, this was their big thing. Like Apple has run up 20% over the course of the last month and a half for AI emojis. Really? Really? I mean, I was disappointed too. I'm not an Apple shareholder, but even as a non-shareholder, I was disappointed for the shareholders out there. It is bouncing back. Maybe they're going to find reasons to buy the stock. The mega cap tech trade continues to ramp up, but wow, I just didn't think they wowed me whatsoever.
Yeah, so Apple, the Apple Intelligence, that was a little, cheeky on the company's part to name it AI Apple Intelligence. That way, when people are searching, Apple AI, like they get all the keyword and the SEO optimization and whatnot. But yeah, to your point, Dennis, I mean, even when you're looking at a summary of all the features announced, the emoji thing is like up there listed in like the top 3 things.
Yeah.
And I mean, like the integrating ChatGPT, we had kind of known that for a while that they were working with ChatGPT on trying to integrate some of its solutions into the phones. And then the other thing, they did show some cool stuff. It looked like with the iPads, you could write math problems out and it'll help you use AI to solve the math problems and stuff. But like that, it just seems like use case wise, it's like, okay, how many people are really doing like homework on their iPads or whatever it is? And like, again, I am an Apple shareholder and I wasn't blown away by this. I do like the fact that Apple is dedicating a lot of its resources toward chips, but that's not what they really talked about yesterday. They didn't talk about their own AI chips or their next generation of Apple chips. They just talked about these kind of features. The AI for the rest of us is what they were calling it. But I think, kind of reminded me a little bit of when Google announced its Bard a couple years ago after ChatGPT, and it was just a little bit disappointing.
I think so. Again, kids are waving goodbye, blowing me kisses. So, yep, goodbye, kids. I don't know what to say. Again, the mega cap tech trade, it's like the only trade that's really out here right now. We know we went through this before. Obviously we've seen small caps are a disaster. Mid caps aren't doing that great. Cyclicals are kind of rolling over. Other indices like Mexico has rolled completely over here now with their elections. So you come back and what's working really is the mega cap. So Nvidia gets a little dip, $3 dip yesterday, gets bought. Apple gets a $4 dip yesterday. Does it get bought? That's the question here. Microsoft is sitting up not far from 52-week highs. Google right there. Amazon, I believe, was making new 52-week highs, still long Amazon, or at least getting close to it. I guess not quite there. I mean, that's what's really worked. So it's going to be hard to just turn around and say, yeah, sell your Apple because it's going down, because the money just continues to roll into the mega cap trade. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Even Meta. I mean, Meta got really beat up on their earnings quietly quietly, Joel, Meta has come all the way back. So if you're just blindly buying that dip after earnings, you're rewarded.
I'm just real close going to the Apple chart, and we're halfway through the month here. And I'm looking at the bottom chart here, the bottom right chart, and what a month! What a month of merry month of May there, big old rally, and then you caught a bid right at the top of that range for the month, and now you're right here, right now. Last month's close 192.25. Last month's high 193. So looking at the daily, that red candle from yesterday kind of has you spooked. But if it can sustain a bid here in this 192, 193 area, then yeah, it remains the same. I just feel if it starts to leak into this candle, very unusual month here, going from 169.11 to 193, breaking a 4-month losing streak. So for you Apple shareholders, long term, short term, middle term, whatever you are here, make sure you get a sustained bid here over the next couple days, right here. Let's call it 192.50 right in the middle.
And then you got Eli Lilly, which is the other one that just cannot do anything wrong. This company just continues to fire on all cylinders. Valuation, we know when stocks are marching, valuation doesn't matter at all. And I've been out of this for a long time here because I just thought the valuation was stretched. Wrong. Valuation stretch doesn't matter. They are just doing everything right. Yesterday, near the close, they get approval for the Alzheimer's drug. Stock blasts off here once again. AB, give us those details. New all-time highs for Eli Lilly. The party continues.
Yeah, so this came yesterday, actually, before the market closed at around 3:15 p.m. Eastern. Lilly, Alzheimer's drug receives unanimous 11-0 vote from FDA panel. The drug is called, I'm going to mess this up, donanemab.
Why don't they come out with normal names?
I don't know.
Like or number them or something, because these names, nobody can say these bloody names.
Donanmob. I think it's Donanmob. Something like that.
I think they do it intentionally. They just want to have the weirdest sounding name, and that's the best name for the drug. Like there's got to be like a group at every drug company that's just coming up with names, and they literally just shaking and just putting letters together, like Portnoy, putting ticker symbols together, showing the darts, just throwing a bunch of letters together and then try to make sounds out of it. It's like grade 2 exercise or grade 1 exercise. It's crazy.
But basically, I mean, the Alzheimer's and dementia market is huge, and there's not really many treatments or drugs currently available. So we've kind of had this race in biotech over the past decade or so to have the first effective Alzheimer's drug. Of course, you have Biogen, BIIB, which is trading up slightly on this news as well this morning. But, I mean, again, just another massive market. You look at what Eli Lilly's targeting right now. It's weight loss drugs, which is in itself a massive market. No pun intended. And then you also have, now this Alzheimer's drug on top of everything else Eli Lilly does. So, I mean, look, if you're a shareholder in Eli Lilly, I don't know what reason you really have to sell right now. It seems like the company is just so well run and doing everything right.
Wow, what a pop here. You got to 8.97 1/4. So you've already given back $15. That's not always a great sign of things. So pick an intermediate level in between there. Looks like the sellers even came down to 8.95. The top of yesterday's range, way down here, the gap fill would be 871.63. That was a former all-time high from yesterday. All-time closing high 865. And I think John Lewis he said something about the top is in. You know why I wouldn't say that about? I mean, they're firing all cylinders, right? They're going after weight loss drugs. They got that. They got all. But you know what else they're gonna do? What else is Lilly going to do? And this is such a layup for you guys and girls. What are they going to do that potentially would be another just huge catalyst to the stock?
Split it.
Yeah, there you go.
They're going to split it. Probably. Yep. That's what they all do. And do 10 for 1 split, and the thing will blast off again. So NVIDIA got the last 20%.
Yep. Yeah,
but it's hard to. I mean, you don't know when it's coming. I mean, looking at Chipotle. Chipotle went probably 5 years too long without a split once it got up over 1,000.
Yeah,
and then what they do 50 for 1. That's coming soon. I think it's end of June, isn't it?
Yeah, it is coming soon.
Yeah.
I think it's actually earlier than that. And then
I think it's coming really soon. I'm looking forward to trading Chipotle not at $3,100 a share, to be honest. The Nvidia, I didn't mind trading that because it was so liquid, but Chipotle is like $5 wide all the time or $8 wide all the time. Looking forward to Chipotle at a lower price. I'll trade it more. I still trade it every once in a while, but
June 26th is the first day we'll begin trading on a post-split basis. So I guess the split
June 26th.
That's a Wednesday, so I guess the split will technically happen the Tuesday before, and then Wednesday will be the first day that it opens up. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting with the splits because, like, it doesn't matter that I know at the end of the day that the value for NVIDIA hasn't changed, that you're still getting the same amount of equity and ownership when you buy one share. But I couldn't help myself yesterday when I was looking at the screen being like, wow, NVIDIA at 120, that's a great deal. I got to get in there and buy it. Even though I know that's not how it works, but it's just like,
you know what, though? It did work that way, AB, and you warned about that. And I tried to play it from the short side a little bit yesterday in the trading account, and I was like doing really well in the first 10 minutes. And then I was like, oh, ooh, ah, and it just bounces right back as all those retailers saying, man, I haven't been able to get in this thing. Get me in there at 118, 119, 120. Lift the offers. Go back to 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, it is like I think it's a smart move. Of course, like Apple, historically has done a lot of
They
stock
all
splits
do
when
it.
its stock has gotten
Except Burke. Even Burke did it. Remember Warren said all those years, you just don't split, and then you split the Burke B. So
Chipotle's was long overdue. Eli Lilly, we'll see. I mean, what do we
probably
want?
coming.
Do we want to put a line on that, Joel? What do you think? Sometime in the next 6 months?
Man, I don't know. I'll parlay that with what you're having for lunch tomorrow.
Okay.
But Dennis, you mentioned yesterday on the show, you talked about the SEC fees too when you're trading a high price stock like that. So it's better, more liquid
on the sale. So SEC fees went up. We talked about that. They tripled the rate last month, so it's significant. And it annoys me on the spy, but like if you pay whatever obviously some of you guys are at free commissions, but I think I think Robinhood still has to charge the SEC fees if I'm not mistaken. I don't have a Robinhood account. Maybe people can verify. There still should be SEC fees on the sales.
3 cents every options contract I do.
So and then you're at Robinhood?
Yeah.
Yeah. So free trading's free trading, but the SEC fees are a transaction tax. So you can't avoid those. So either Robinhood's eating it or you've got to pass it through. So I just saw my SPY. Like I didn't even know they were raising them like that. And I saw my SPY do 500 shares when it's $9 on the sale. And I was like, holy crap, what are we back to like 1999 here? That should be like $3. No, it's $9 now because it's just the dollar volume. So yeah, 100 shares is Chipotle CMG at 300 grand. I don't know, figure that out. That's on the tax. It's significant. Probably $9 or $10 on SEC for just the one trade, $9. Those SEC charges, they're high now.
All right, I want to go to Bitcoin real quick because Bitcoin is trading down today around 3.5%. Like the overall market, you don't have any specific catalysts. But it's interesting here because now Bitcoin, when you're looking at like the weekly chart or daily chart, hasn't really gone anywhere in about, let's call it 3 months. 3 months ago, March 13th, Bitcoin was trading at 73,000. If you're a big proponent of like Bitcoin becoming this, like stable, like this like stable currency you can use, it's not as volatile. Like, okay, that's good news, I guess, that it's just been trading in this range. But at the end of the day, and here's my issue right now with crypto and that industry, is it's not enough for Bitcoin to really just be at 70,000. Like if you look at Coinbase or you look at some of these other companies that are reliant on crypto trading, when crypto's not in one of these big bull runs, the trading volume essentially starts going down and flattening out, which is not what these companies want. So like Bitcoin, it's boring right now. This is what Bitcoin is supposed to do. It's supposed to either be taking big legs up or big legs down. And so I think that's coming soon, whether that be a breakdown back close to 60,000 or maybe we get back up to those all-time highs. But looking for a breakout in either direction here on Bitcoin.
Big chart. I mean, at least on the dailies here, this is a big level.
Right. I mean, that's why I think today could be the day. If it keeps going lower, it could be the day that it finally sells off and gets back down to the 60,000 level.
Yeah, you need. I mean, this is big. I mean, look how many times it came down here over in May, going all the way back to the middle of the May. A couple other lows maybe give it a little bit more room here. But boy, that's impressive. I haven't seen that kind of
And we know
consolidation in Bitcoin in a while.
I know, and we know Bitcoin will most likely be more volatile on the CPI news tomorrow morning than the overall market will be, which is kind of ironic in a sense, just because for a long time, the whole bull case around Bitcoin was it's an inflation hedge. And then yet when inflation is higher, Bitcoin goes lower. So it's kind of the opposite of a hedge. But, I mean, look, I sold a lot of my crypto when we were when the market was going kind of crazy. Yeah, so Lombardo, and I've been reading a lot about this too, that the ETFs now are making the trading a little, like it's making the coin a little bit less volatile. But to
I
me,
think so.
it's just interesting
Thickens it
because
up.
like Bitcoin's always been this crazy mover that you're prone to these 10, 20% increase or decreases over a week or 2 week period. And now we haven't gone anywhere over 3 months. And it's like, all right, is the whole crypto, like, is Bitcoin just going to trade at 70,000 forever? No, probably not. But when is that going to happen? And I think, we could be seeing that happening today.
You know what I find interesting is these miners, like not looking at Coinbase, but like Riot, and there's a few other ones here. I mean, they're trading back at prices when Bitcoin was half of this. And they say, that these are the ways, to play Bitcoin, the leveraged ways. These have very much underperformed Bitcoin. Riot is $9. Go back a year and a half ago was $9. Where was Bitcoin a year and a half ago? Just go to the price. I'm just trying to just say
Yeah,
October.
no, it's an excellent point.
Where was Bitcoin back in October of last year?
And a crypto expert in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the halving or whatever happened a few weeks ago makes it less
because they're only
profitable.
making half as much money.
Yeah, it makes it less profitable to mine. They're basically spending the same amount of
gosh.
energy to mine only half as much.
Mara's done a little better. It's held up a little bit better. Our buddy Hive, obviously, Frank Holmes there, we know well. Hive Blockchain, same thing. Kind of where it was a year ago, or 8 months ago, despite Bitcoin being a lot higher. What are the other miners? Like Bitfarms, BITF.
How's
I mean,
how's
there's just so many
MicroStrategy
things.
doing?
Yeah, I just looked
Well,
at
that's a
that
good
one.
question.
Yeah, no,
But
MicroStrategy.
MicroStrategy isn't really a miner. MicroStrategy
No,
is a
it's just
hodler.
yeah,
They're a
hodler.
leveraged. They're a hodler, so they're gonna move off the price more directly because they're just literally just holding a whole pile of it levered up. So I think
They're selling some at 1740. Or they're selling stock here. Look at that, a triple top on the monthly. So keep an eye on that. I mean, I don't know if you want to short this thing or whatever, but boy, that's pretty rare for $1,700 stock. You have 3 monthly highs in a row at within $5 of each other. So keep an eye on that. Ways to go to get to low. You asked where Bitcoin was in October, Dennis, and it was around 40K. It ended up, it
from
ended
40 to
October.
70, and Riot has gone nowhere. Mara is up. Hive's gone nowhere. Some of these other players, and then MSTR has gone up way more because they're a leveraged play on it. I believe they're levered up in it. So that's where they're just a huge, obviously, holder of Bitcoin.
All right, other market headlines. Let's get to GM real quick. A little Detroit stock here. You had
Sure.
GM popping yesterday, closed up 4%, and then this morning getting some follow through, up another 1.5%. The company announced a $6 billion stock buyback this morning. So I don't know. I mean, did we have a specific headline as to why the stock went up 4% yesterday? It seems like a very big move for GM.
I think it was a rating.
Let's see.
I think there was a rating. Somebody upgraded it yesterday. I forget who it was. If you go to your Benzinga Pro from yesterday, probably.
I'm in it. I didn't see one, so
I
know
think they were trying to look here.
Oh, there was a. Let's see.
Maybe it was a surprise target raise, but let's look. GM.
Oh man, this I had been hawking this 4060. You take different. What do you have the news on it?
No, I was looking. I'm pretty sure it was a rating yesterday, though.
You know what it was? It was breaking out of 46. I've been talking about that. Yeah, look at that. Look how clean that was on the daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you look at it. 46, 46, 46, 46. And they opened, we talk about getting a running start at a level. Well, on what was that? Today's Tuesday. On Friday, you closed up there 45.72. You ended up clearing out that seller at 46 on Friday, and then it was just blue skies ahead. But you know what? I missed a major catalyst in this stock, and it was maybe 8 months ago. You know what that major catalyst was?
You bought a new car.
No, Dana started is the audience and personalization lead at Cadillac. This is the Dana
There you
rally.
go. You had the insider there, Joel.
Yep.
Boom.
Yep. Yep. That was
Nice.
that was the catalyst. Wow. Look at that. Up another 78 cents.
Well, there's
here.
a buyback here, though.
Yeah,
today,
that's
right?
today.
What's the
That's
news today?
today.
Today's news
They
is
should-
buyback, but there was something yesterday here too. So they're piling in here now. GM's breaking out. I mean, the valuations are really low. We've said this. It's been a value trade. GM and Ford, the valuations are super low. It's just, they've been low for a reason here. And I've been challenging whether those cars are going to continue to sell. But you know what? Ford not performing, GM is. So maybe what Ford's lost, Ford's really gone nowhere. But GM here continues to perform. Toyota's pulled back recently. If you're just looking at the charts here, TM's done a little pullback.
Yeah,
here
Toyota
too.
had that controversy where they were
News.
faking some safety tests or something over in Japan.
The old fake safety test trick.
Yeah, which makes me feel great about driving my Toyota. But hey, I mean,
you're safe. Oh wait, that was fake.
Well, I think it was only certain models. I hope mine wasn't included in that. I got to shout out real quick, Adam Jonas over at Morgan Stanley, who covers a lot of these stocks in the car space. Because fall of 2023, when we had all three major auto manufacturers striking at the same time in Detroit, and you turned on CNBC and they said, "Oh, if they do what the UAW is asking, these companies are going to go out of business," and everyone was selling the stocks. And Adam Jonas came in and said, "No, this is a great buying opportunity." And now these stocks are like 70% higher than they were less than a year ago. So that was a great call. And I think a lesson to be learned there, that like when you have all this kind of news stuff going on and people start freaking out, that a lot of times it can be a buying opportunity.
Sometimes.
If you understand, I was going to say, if you understand the space well, and he wrote, like I was reading what he was writing about it, and it made a lot of sense the way he laid it out, basically saying that like, these companies will be fine either way with the outcome of these strikes. So, again, like a lot of fear around there, but if you have an expertise in the space and you have an edge and you can understand it, can present some good buying opportunities.
And then you got the vote. What is it, Thursday, the Tesla vote? Or we get the result?
Yeah, so we got a couple Tesla headlines this morning. So one is related to the first thing that we talked about to start the show, the Apple thing. So Elon Musk came out and was, was calling out Apple and basically saying that he's debating banning. So this is interesting because I misread the headline or what Elon Musk was saying the first time that I read it. I thought he meant that he was going to ban like iPhone, Apple CarPlay and Teslas, and you wouldn't be able to connect your phones to Teslas for like security reasons. That's not what he was saying. He was saying that Elon Musk is considering banning Apple phones from his Tesla companies so that people, if they go to the Tesla factory, would have to check in their iPhone into a box before they walk in and go around, because he's so worried about the open or the chat GPT open AI stuff, mining people's data and it being a big security risk. I have thoughts on this because I don't know how, serious that is. I think Elon Musk helped found OpenAI and then got ousted from the company. And then now he's trying to have a competitor with the XAI. I think he just doesn't like OpenAI because Apple has a track record of being, as far as big tech companies go, pretty dedicated to security and privacy. So I don't think Apple's going to implement any of these changes from OpenAI that's all of a sudden going to make it like a spyware phone like Elon Musk is saying. But that was the first headline. And then, of course, the other part that you mentioned, Dennis, is we have this vote coming up. So we can talk about both of these things here.
Yeah, and the vote's significant. I mean, if he doesn't get the money, there's rumors he may leave Tesla. I mean, that would be an epic disaster. I would sell my stock if Musk left Tesla. But I got to think like, hopefully if he don't prove it, there's going to be a way. Like he hits all the targets and then they decide they don't want to give him the money. I'm like, it's kind of screwing him over. Like you hit the targets, pay the guy. I know it's a lot of money and I know that's a lot of money that, maybe other people can do stuff with, but He's a workhorse, man. You don't want to tick off Elon Musk. You don't want Elon Musk. He's so many other companies. You don't want him like, okay, I'm out and going to move on. I don't know if that's going to be the case if he doesn't get the money if he's leaving, but it's not going to leave a good taste in his mouth that he hits all the targets and they don't pay him. Pay the man. So I should be voting my shares here too, but my shares are pretty insignificant. But I didn't even see like the sheet where I guess I got to go look online.
When is this supposed to be the official word on this?
Thursday, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, have you ever seen
a lot of money?
Look at the consolidation station here.
Well, it's waiting for this result.
Wow.
I think if they don't give him the money, I think the stock. I think they're going to worry that this is, he's going to put one foot out the door. So I think you got to give him the money, but I don't know. It's close. Like they're saying it's close. There's, like obviously Ron Barron was on CNBC last week. He says he's voting for it, but there's been some big shareholders that are voting against it. So I'm not sure what to say, but it's kind of, it's kind of scary to a certain extent to be a shareholder here until you know the result of this vote.
So I sold all my Tesla shares at soon after Elon Musk bought Twitter, and he started kind of like, to me, it was just from the perception was that his mind was in other places. He wasn't as 100% gung-ho focused on Tesla as he was at certain points in the past. And with that said, I'll be the first to admit, like I know Tesla and Elon Musk have a lot of very, very loyal and dedicated supporters. I am not in that camp. I always felt like I had more of kind of like an objective, like here's why I'm investing in it. With that said, think this is silly. Like, why go back now and shoot down this compensation plan after all the targets were hit and whatnot?
Yeah.
Like, why not shoot it down when it was made in 2018?
And they didn't think you could hit the targets.
Exactly.
And he hit them all. So pay him.
Exactly. If you think that's the thing, if you think, okay, this is so outlandish, these targets, he'll never make this in a million years. So we're not even going to worry about, the Delaware court or whatever. I'm saying they're not even going to worry about shooting it down because they think it's just so outlandish. And then they end up hitting it. And now they're saying, oh, shoot, he actually did it. Well, we can't have this. It's like, look, you should have shot that down in 2018 when it was passed if you wanted to do it. Don't do it now. So again, even as someone who's not like the biggest, Elon Musk fanboy or Tesla supporter, like even I think it's silly that they're talking about shooting it down. With that said, you do have a lot of investors and pension funds and stuff now saying they are planning on voting against it. So, it will be interesting. My hunch is that it'll still pass because I think a lot of the Tesla shareholders are still.
I think the legality of things, I mean, you sign a contract on something like that, you put in certain, things, standards that get hit. I mean, I think even if he loses his vote, I'm sure he has like a plan B or something to go at it.
He's always got a plan B.
Yeah.
I hope plan B isn't like I'm going to go concentrate more on SpaceX and Twitter and everything else he's got cooking outside of Tesla there because we need him in Tesla, folks. Well, some people have said, oh, if Tesla's better without Elon Musk. Man, I just don't think that's the case whatsoever.
No.
He's just created so much. Maybe he's not the engineers that are doing the fine tuning on the stuff, but the vision, man. The guy just has vision. The guy's a workhorse. I'm a huge fan of Elon Musk. I have been. That's why I own the stock.
There was also news last week that Tesla got a shipment of like 10,000 NVIDIA chips. Elon Musk told NVIDIA to ship these chips to XAI instead of Tesla. So that's just another sign that and again, I think what's happening with Elon is he's seeing that like all this attention AI is getting right now. And he's basically being like, I got to catch up with this. So he's doing XAI. And again, like to Elon's credit, he was early on AI. He helped found OpenAI.
He's early on everything. To Elon's credit, he's been early on everything. To PayPal. Just think of the accomplishments. People want to trash him. They don't like what he says. They don't like his what he speaks. And again, he's very outspoken and says what he thinks. And it pisses a lot of people off. But if you take all that away, forget about him as a person. Just look at his accomplishments. Who's accomplished more? Who's accomplished more in the last 30 years? You argue he could, think about what he's done. He was building cars in a tent and, in trying to, just teeter. And, he found a way. He found a way to do EV better than all these automakers. And that the other automakers have, stopped making or slowing down there. They've moved on to hybrids. They're not even focused on EV now. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then SpaceX, like he's basically NASA now. NASA couldn't put these rockets up there. He does it for 10% of the cost or 6% of the cost or something. The accomplishments are unbelievable. So forget about him as a person, but just as, running companies there, he's accomplished a lot, folks.
Yeah, but I think with the AI stuff is he's seeing that like, oh my God, this opportunity is so big to the point where it's like, why even focus 100% on electric cars, which in itself is a huge opportunity in self-driving cars, when AI is an even bigger addressable market and the robotics and the humanoids. So now I think he's kind of shifting his focus to how can we make XAI and Tesla a player in all of this, as opposed to just focusing on the cars and selling those. All right, it is 8:30.
I mean, he was talking about a phone yesterday, just on replies. Did you see that? I was just like, it was in my Twitter account, but he was talking about a Tesla smartphone. It was just talk. He just threw it out there as an idea. But I mean, there's talk of like different ideas. The guy's always thinking of another idea.
Always working. All right, well, it is 8:36. Time to bring on our esteemed guest of the day. Today, it is a T3 Tuesday. We've got our man Christian Tharp hanging out backstage. So without further ado, let's give Christian our special pre-market prep welcome and go through some charts and setups when we come back. All right, Christian Tharp, welcome back to Pre-Market Prep. How are you doing this morning?
I tell you what, guys, I am doing great. And I always love being on the show because, I live in this technical analysis bubble and I don't know anything about the stuff you guys talk about. So
Who's Elon Musk? I just trade Tesla. Look at the chart.
I just squiggly lines, triangles, shapes. Come on. It's like I bring my daughter in here. We just look for squiggly stuff. So when you guys start talking,
what?
I'm like, really?
Christian,
I didn't know that.
Man, if that works, and if it works for you, keep doing it by all means. It's worked for you, obviously, for a long time. And I wish I could just look at the squiggly lines. You obviously look at them in different ways than me. But I mean, the squiggly lines do tell the story. If they don't if Musk doesn't get his approval, or he doesn't get, his pay package approved, the stock tanks. It shows up on the charts. So It's there.
I always, there's always a bull and a bear, right? There's somebody that's bearish on, let's say, take Tesla. There's somebody that's bullish. I always say the market kind of tells the truth, right? That's the winner, or that's what the market is thinking. And so even though it kind of can sometimes look cute or look like voodoo or things like that, the reality is if you really dive down and take something like GM from yesterday, we've been following GM for a while. And it just kept hitting 46, just kept hitting 46, just kept hitting 46, right? You can see it right there. Perfect little line, like a little haircut right across 46, right? So on one hand, I could draw a little line and it looks kind of like, all right, a little line on a chart. But the other hand, what's going on underneath that, right? You think supply and demand. You think supply is coming in, supply is coming in. If we can soak it up, right? So there is some logic behind it. And we see a move like yesterday and it's like, well, you could be as bearish as you want. The market just said, right? So there is that rhyme or reason behind it. But, we were watching this yesterday, Ford, not looking as good, but kind of getting a good move as well. We're just kind of laughing that, everything is all about tech, but you can see 12 on Ford. Look at that 12. And we thought we had a pretty big breakdown. And when it broke back a week or so, we're like, well, actually, this is bullish. Ford should be going higher. Just kind of gave us a little bit of a fake out there. And sure enough, here we are, right? Now, of course, then there's going to be the why. Well, but why, there's like, I don't know. You're going to have to go on Benzinga and talk to those guys.
We're the why. You're what's happening, actually.
Yeah, all I can tell you is it doesn't change that it is.
I see what you're looking at on Ford. Is there a catch-up trade here with GM? Like usually Ford does eventually catch up. Is there a catch-up trade for Ford here?
Yeah, we're targeting getting up to that 13. You're going to look back there in February. You look at the beginning of March. You look at the end of March. You look at the end of April. Yeah. This 13 number should act as somewhat of a magnet. Ford's been pretty good, to be honest with you, in this price range and being as liquid as it is. It's been pretty good about the whole dollar amounts anyway. So we're thinking you get through 1250. It challenged it yesterday. Should be on our way to 13. If you could take out 13 again, then I think you could see some real progress. But GM obviously seems to be the one that is favored at this stage.
What about outside the car space, Christian? Any setups that you've found interesting? What stocks have you been trading the past week or so?
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that has us concerned about the overall market right now, we don't want to be, because our view has been like kind of like bull and that we would resume, but things like the Dow S&P non-confirmation from like 3 or 4 weeks ago is driving us nuts a little bit. Big momentum divergence on a weekly scale for the Dow. So breadth, kind of looking at, say, for example, S&P stocks above the 50-day just keep dropping and dropping. So I'll be honest, we're a little concerned, and we would love to see a little bit healthier move. That being said, again, we take each stock on its own merit. So starting with Honeywell, HON, sure looks like it wants to at least give it a whirl, getting up through that 210, 211 area up top. If you go back to right about 1.5 years or so, it just keeps going up in that zone and coming back down. So it looks like it might want to take it out. You can see it pretty well there on that left. Well, really, I guess all of them. But we were watching that, which was a little bit of surprise, because if you look at last week, we see this breadth that doesn't look good. We see half of stocks, kind of, again, below their 50-day in the NASDAQ, below that in the S&P, below that in the NYSE. We see what the Dow's doing. Tech would seem to be the place to be, because tech had a pretty big week last week compared to everything else. But we thought Honeywell looked good. And then on the flip side, on the bearish side, we were watching UPS. Came down a week or two ago, tested its 52-week low perfectly.
Wow. What a, and again, I know you don't care about the story, but what a story, from, going from, up, and now we're just, down here at multi-year UPS, FedEx too. Same story, really. It's, made its highs back 4 years ago, 2020, over $300, down at $250. It's obviously performed a little bit better than UPS, but at a certain point in time, do you always play with momentum, Christian, or do you become a contrarian when you think, it's come down enough? What are you usually just playing momentum?
I would say, definitely momentum. I'm a huge fan of, we kind of start in this kind of area of, yes, trying to identify these breakdown points, pattern. Like, take, for example, Meta. Meta was one we've been isolating here because we're trying to decipher, what are we traveling in right now? A rising channel, or is that a bearish flag, right? The thing for us, and if you just look the last 2 months on Meta, you can kind of see this perfect channeled outline there. So what I start with is these, I don't necessarily look to trade any one thing. I look for the things that tell me how to trade it, right? So for example, GM was telling me, trade me if I take out 46. Now that could have been GM, that could have been Tesla, that could have been Apple. Just looking for those things that tell me what to do, right? So there's no confusion. And then, yes, once we get that move, that confirmation of a breakout, breakdown, whatever it happens to be, then we try to jump in there and ride the wave. And depending on the time scale, right? So if we're swing trading, or like take, for example, prime time, we do a little bit shorter term. So we're looking to capitalize on inexpensive or cheap options for a move, right? So, something like GM is pretty inexpensive. You can get a pretty good call option if we think higher, or put if we think we're going to pull back, for relatively inexpensive, right? 10, 15, 20 cents. On a short-term scale, we can turn that into something bigger. But we're waiting for those right moments. And it's that technical analysis, keeping in mind that it does start with the market, right? So we do, as I always say, rise and fall with market. But I guess, yes, but we're looking definitely for those breaks, those moves telling us when to jump in and ride that momentum.
And then, Christian, I know you're just looking at things mostly from the technical level, but if you're looking at the overall market, like the S&P 500 right now, ahead of this CPI report tomorrow, is it showing any signs of traders being tentative or scared, or do you think we're still at a level where we could break out from here?
Sure. Big question. We start to break this down every time lately that we go into like a CPI or PPI or an FOMC, because quite often the market tips its hand, ahead of time. FOMCs are, I swear, like 95% of the time, the market's telling you what it plans to do before it ever does it. CPI, these numbers have done similarly, where a lot of times, I don't know as reliable, but a lot of times, just like the last CPI number, the market made it clear what it was planning on doing the day before. of course, market reserves the right to change its mind. So we look at what we're seeing right now with the S&P. We're just eyeballing a very short-term mark right around, call it 53.30, 53 and a quarter. You can kind of see, that's what was giving us a little bit of a haircut there a month ago. And that's where we've been holding here as of late. Yesterday, we came down, I think Friday, we came down right around that 53.30 mark and just keep holding it. So as long as that holds, as it pertains to the S&P, you've got to be thinking higher. S&P, NASDAQ have been moving pretty much tit for tat. So you got to be thinking the same with the NASDAQ. And that's what we're watching. Our concern still is we would love to see a little bit more, robust in the way of breadth. And it's really unnerving that because the Dow, when these two don't play well with each other, commonly that leads to a problem, right? Now, Dow is more than welcome to catch up. But right now you're talking, it's been 3 going on 4 weeks since the Dow confirmed that high. Somewhat similar to coming out of the bear market when the Dow was the first one off to the races coming out of it, right? And it was sending a signal that the rest of the market was getting ready to follow. It doesn't always work that way, but right now we're saying, gosh, why isn't the Dow, and there's a pretty good trend line if you draw it right across, look at your 2024 January low, go into your April low, end of April low, and then the end of May low. You're going to see that perfect little line running across from the Dow. So we're watching that on the Dow. If the Dow takes that out, the Dow's sending a message that it plans on heading lower. And if it is, it ain't going by itself.
Christian, getting into a trade is one thing, but getting out of a trade is another. What do you like to use for targets? I mean, I'm looking at like the GM here. It's in no man's land, right? I mean, you want to take $50? Do you use Fibonacci numbers, average daily ranges? How do you target your targets?
Sure. And as you just perfectly pointed out, there's a million different ways from Sunday to do that, right? For me, I always try to remember and subscribe to that one idea that price is the only thing that pays. It's the only thing that puts money in or out of your account, right? So I always start there. And typically when I'm looking at take, for example, we looked at Ford. Ford taking out that 12, I know that price-wise, I should be able to target 12.50 first and eventually 13. So then it's just a matter of what is my time scale? I would not be necessarily targeting 13 this week, but certainly if I was willing to go out 2 weeks and I, had some faith in the market. So usually I'm looking at price. So when we took out 12, when we broke back above 12 a week and a half ago, our target one was 12.50. Overall, we're thinking 13. So usually I'm trying to focus on price. Sometimes it's just psych levels. Estee Lauder broke below 120 yesterday. There's not a whole lot for me to look at if I look at historical price data. There's not a whole lot going on there. Wow. So I say to myself, psychologically, those increments of 5 pop up. Certainly for this stock, you can see 125 just before that. 130 pops up a few times. So I see these prices that kind of stick out. So we targeted 115 for the week. Full disclosure, we bought puts on this thinking, hey, look at that 120 from end of May. Look at that 120 from right back there in November. Market's telling us this matters. We take it out, should be going lower. First price, again, it's more of like a psychological kind of law of large numbers. Overall, we think that tests its 52-week low. So price usually, but yeah, absolutely. You can use ATR, you can use fibs, you can use so many different things, but I try to focus on what I call the big dog in the fight, or the left and the right bar, which is price.
Got it. Well, Christian, I mean, do you have any setups specifically for like this morning or today you're going into, or, just kind of going to be watching the overall market?
Overall market today, we have a couple irons in the fire. I think we're always keeping an eye on NVIDIA. After the split yesterday, we're kind of keeping an eye on if there's a play there, because we think that could get up and get moving. We do like to do a lot, and again, this is more of like in our shorter term prime time scale, which is we do a lot of strangling. We try to pick things that are moving a little bit. And 2 that we were eyeballing was First Solar, and the other one was VST. Those 2 are moving around a little bit. And sometimes with stuff, you can see First Solar just chopping around. If you play your cards right and try to be on both sides of it, we try to kind of catch the move. We're agnostic as to what that move is. So we're keeping an eye on that today specifically. And then VST, again, had been on a heck of a run, but looks like it's running into some problems. And that volatility as of late over the past 1 to 2 weeks has been kind of fun to play with as well.
Christian, we've got this QR code up on the screen for people to sign up to trade with you next week. And we also have a link in the description to that as well. Do you mind talking a little bit about what people will get if they join that room?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great little offering from T3 here. They are essentially letting everyone come in. It's a free open house. It is for our prime time trading. Prime time meaning that prime times for me are in that kind of 9:30, 10, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then come in at the end of the day. I love the last 30 minutes of the day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we come in, we put plays on, we adjust. I kind of refer to it as like a chess match, right? We see what the market does. We make our play. The next day, the market makes its move. We adjust, we roll. So it can be fun. It can have a little bit of adrenaline to it. But yeah, it's an open house for all week. Come in, do a lot of coaching, some trading. You'll probably learn a lot because if there's one thing my members have told me, it's that I have a very, very unique way of looking at the options trading. So if nothing else, come in, learn a few things, get a few good trades. It'll be great all week long.
All right, completely free. You got no reason not to. Again, that QR code in the bottom of the screen, as well as the link in the description. Christian, always great to catch up with you and have you on Pre-Market Prep. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday and have a great week.
You too, guys. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks, Christian.
You as well. All right, thank you, Christian. All right, guys, again, that was Christian Tharp from T3. You can hit that link in the description if you want to go trade for free all week next week with Christian. All right, about 10 minutes left. I want to talk about a stock yesterday. I got to see. Let me check Benzinga Pro, because yesterday when I looked, I did not see a specific news headline. But Celsius Holdings closed down like 10% yesterday. What was going on with that? I think the company's set to report earnings in a couple weeks.
This is just sudden. Everybody was talking with this thing breaking out to new highs when it got up over 90. It's like, just needs to tick that over 100. Well, it double topped. Just if you just got Christian back there, he just put a classic double top at $99.61, the high back in March, almost perfectly matched at 98.84. And then we consolidated for a couple of days and then had a breakdown, caught everybody that was gambling on a breakout. Stocks don't break out until they're actually broken out, folks. And then 90, 80, 70, 66. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trading days, the stock has went from $95 to $66. Man, when momentum comes out of Momo stocks, it's ugly.
Yeah, and this was actually interesting because I was talking to my my financial advisor that works at Morgan Stanley, or his group's at Morgan Stanley, and he said like 2 weeks ago, he's like, yeah, Morgan turned on this stock. I don't know how much I like it anymore. And I was like, no, it's fine. Everyone I know drinks Celsius. It's fine. And then I saw this and I was like, oh man, maybe those people at Morgan know a little bit more than I do.
There was some other news on May 28th. I'm just, when you see when you see a bar like that, you're like, oh yeah, double top. You could talk technical, but like, holy mackerel, May 28th, and that was also Morgan reiterates an equal weight. But the old Nielsen data trick, shares are trading lower, indicating Nielsen data showed sales growth slowed sequentially. So there you go. That was your catalyst there. And then,
You can't.
wow.
You can't have these growth stocks. Like, this is what, Lululemon just went through. When they're trading for premium multiples and Celsius is trading at 59 times forward earnings, you can't see any type of growth slow because you're paying such a huge multiple here. So that's, where we're at. And then, where are we going with this? It's a $15 billion company to, the point like Monster, we've looked at Monster comparable. It's 53 billion. So maybe it could become the next Monster, but Monster also trades 27 times earnings. Monster, just a lot bigger company. So Celsius could maybe eventually get there, but it's got a long ways to go to be the next Monster. So I don't know anything about the chemical stuff that, some people are talking about in the chat. I'm not sure about all that. I just know valuation and valuation.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say valuation, when growth starts to slow a little bit, that multiple can contract very quickly.
Yeah, Celsius has tried to market itself as the healthier version of a Monster or Red Bull, but at the end of the day, I don't know how really quote unquote healthy it is. I know there were some lawsuits for some of Celsius's marketing tactics. I will say, just based off my like what I see, people here in the Benzinga office drinking and young people drinking, it would not surprise me whatsoever to see Celsius continue to catch up to Monster in market cap. Does that mean I think it'll be $50 billion anytime soon? No, but could I see Celsius cutting into its market share to the point where maybe Monster goes down to like a $40 billion company and Celsius is up to a $20 billion company? I could see that happening over the next few years.
If we blindfolded you and we put Celsius, Monster, Red Bull, what else is there out there? I don't drink these things. And you could have them at the same time, like every day for and taste different ones. Would you be able to tell the difference?
I could tell you the regular, normal Red Bull for sure. I'm confident in that. I don't even know. I can't think of off the top of my head what like the normal Monster Energy flavor tastes like. Celsius has like 100 different flavors. And so
I had the grape one when I was in Florida. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it kind of just tastes like a boost.
Did it give you a boost?
I think a little bit. I don't think I went crazy or anything like that. But I also drank it with a couple beers, so it was just like it's like that Simpsons episode. Oh, I'll just counter this, sleeping pills with this, stimulant pills when he's driving on the road. These wake up pills and sleeping pills. Yeah, you have a beer with a Celsius and it just does nothing.
But yeah, again, I saw that move yesterday and it was surprising. So I think that was more technical than anything else because, we did get that news headline on the 28th, like you said, Joel, but that was a couple weeks ago, and seeing that sell off hard this morning or yesterday was interesting. We'll see today if some bulls can make a stand there in Celsius. Other headlines. Let's see what we missed today. Well, we did have some smaller companies reporting earnings. You had Academy Sports and Outdoors, ticker ASO, report earnings this morning and missed the bar here. So revenue came in, missed at $1.36 billion, missed by 20 million. EPS came in at $1.08, missed by 14 cents there. So the guidance was a little bit light as well. Stock trading down about 5%. And I think the bar was probably a little bit high. Yeah, set by Dick's going into this report for Academy Sports.
Boy, big breakdown here in this stock. It
doesn't look like Dick's, I'll tell you that. You got Dick's new highs or near new highs, and you've got this one just doing the opposite thing. There's separation in this industry. There's separation in all retail. I mean, you think, sporting goods store. It's just not the case. You think, apparel retailer. It's just not the case. There's separation. I mean, Abercrombie and Fitch just continues, and here it is. It's up again here today. That stock is just an absolute monster. Then you have other apparel that just doesn't do as well. So I mean, you have Lululemon, completely different story here. So obviously valuations do matter, but it's such a stock picker's market when you get into retail.
Pre-market low. This thing really. I put Deckers up there, another retailer that's been on the right end of things. Really, they kind of whooped this to under 49. No, 49.40 is your pre-market low, and I was just looking between 50, really 45 and 55. Not a whole lot here, but let's see if it comes down off the pre-market low. So I expect things to, to thicken up a little bit as you go towards that pre-market low for ASO. And just, going back and talking about the retailers, I think it was last Friday. Was it last Friday we had Lululemon earnings, right? Got the nice pop, but you know what? Did it change the long-term outlook? Well, trying to put in a trio of lows here at 314 and avoid a gap fill here. So if you felt you missed a major bottom here in Lulu after that earnings pop, developing some pretty good support at 314 in Lululemon. Fundamentals haven't changed that much, but technically you have a level to lean on.
Well, that's the difference between having a really good report that allows for some follow through versus having just an okay report and getting a pop because the bar was set so low. And Lulu's report wasn't great, but the bar was very low going into it that it was able to get that pop. But then after a few days, people are like, "Well, actually, the report wasn't that great, not that exciting." But when you have a company like Nvidia or someone like that has an amazing report, you're more likely to see that follow through a week or so later. So it's not surprising to see Lulu give up some of those gains after that post earnings pop.
Yeah, and you also got to attribute the fact that there's a lot of people that listen to our show like after the fact. Like on the weekends they just catch up and they listen to all the shows at once, and they're like, "Hey, look at that! Wow, they were talking about that not being that great of a report." So then you get a little follow through to the downside. But keep an eye on 314 for Lululemon. Well, we've come off the lows here of the pre-market session, well above yesterday's low, coming into some big economic data tomorrow. So guess who's coming on tomorrow to talk about the CPI?
Blue.
You got me, and Dennis. You are so much
I'm
sharper
so
now.
good. With the 48 years, it's just but the brain's still working like an 18-year-old. Just kidding. The brain works a little bit slower for sure.
All right,
Blue.
So
Blue,
yep.
you're my boy.
My boy,
Blue. You're my boy.
Yep. Will be our guest tomorrow. Dennis, any final thoughts here today? We have a dip, buy the dip.
I think you're going to just be jockeying ahead of tomorrow's CPI, and sometimes nervousness ahead of this. TLT has sold off for a few days. It's bouncing a little bit this morning, so maybe some people nervous to cover their shorts if they're short the bonds going into tomorrow. It's going to be, a little bit choppy ahead of tomorrow's CPI, and then that's going to be the next dictator of the next move. So IWM rallied back yesterday, selling out this morning. I think the dips get bought here. I think, one, if I was short stocks, I'd be nervous coming in, because what if the number's light? What if it comes in light? They're talking about, well, I don't know if they're talking about it being lighter or not, but there's lots to think about. It's not just straight, like we're coming back and prices are going higher and prices are going lower. We've kind of been choppy with this data. I think we continue to remain choppy with the market here.
Yeah, if we want to get those, I know we're wrapping up right here, but I can pull those numbers up, just what we're looking for real quick.
Sure.
And Oracle again does report tonight, so that should be could be
RBRK is another one. That's a new IPO, I believe. It's the first report since the company went public. Rubik, some people like to trade that. Then
ABCO. For CPI, we are looking for 3.4% CPI year over year is expected to be at 3.4%, which is the same as it would have been last month. So that's expected to stay the same. Previously, for the month of April, we had 0.3% CPI growth in the month of April. We're looking for 0.1% in May. So that is expected to fall in May to 0.1%. We're looking for core CPI at 0.3%, and we're looking for core CPI year over year to fall from 3.6% to 3.5%. So the bar now is, the expectations are for inflation to fall slightly. So, if we don't show that, then it could be some pain for the market.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah, you know how it goes. All right. Well, that'll be a wrap for us today on Pre-Market Prep. It is 9:02 a.m. We do have live trading starting up again tomorrow morning. We'll have some fireworks, 8:30 a.m. We'll have those numbers here. Make sure to stay tuned or to come in tomorrow and hang out with us at 8:30, 8 a.m. really, so we can get that preview as well. Other than that, guys, have a great day. Happy birthday again, Dennis. Hope you have a good day, and peace and love, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow morning.